Welcome to Daily Life Connection as we continue to explore who God is, how He works, and how that makes a difference in our daily lives. Today, I want to talk to you about the God who has a very large label maker. You may wonder what that's about. Well, let me take you to a couple of Paul's letters, one in Galatians and in chapter 3 and verse 27. As many of you as were baptized into Christ have clothed yourselves with Christ. There is no longer Jew or Greek. There is no longer slave or free. There is no longer male or female. For all of you are one in Christ. And then in Colossians, also chapter 3, verse 11, in that renewal, there is no longer Greek or Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave or free, but Christ is all and in all. Talking to you about God the barrier breaker or the label smasher. One of the great weapons of the enemy has always been to get us to categorize each other, to label each other. You're in, he's out, I'm in, I'm better, I'm this, and even our denominations, when instead of saying I'm a follower of Christ or I'm a Christian, so often people I'm a, and fill in the blank, Catholic, Baptist, Methodist, whatever. And we get those labels, righteous and unrighteous, and we not only in the church, but our whole world is focused on and obsessed with labeling everybody. Liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, like we're constantly labeling people. And then when we do that, we respond to them, we react to them, we treat them in different ways than if they had a different label. The good news is this: God has a bigger label maker. You know how you can get little labels to put on your envelopes when you're mailing something. But God's got a big label maker, and He slaps His label maker on top of, and it just obliterates all the other little labels that we artificially give to people or call people by. It says Christ is all and in all. Because of Jesus' death and resurrection, the labels are gone. The barriers are down. There's no male or female. Like we get into these debates sometimes about women's roles and men's roles. And what God is saying is the barriers are down. You're my children. Live out of who you are in me. Not out, oh, this is good. Don't live out of the labels that you have given yourself or that others have placed on you. Someone may have placed the label failure on you, or hothead on you, or irresponsible. People may have labeled you. Don't live out of that. God has put His big label on top of yours, and His big label is God approved, redeemed, chosen, adopted. You're in with Him. You are in Christ. And because of your union with Christ, none of those other labels matter, or none of them define you. None of them limit you. The good news is today, because of what Christ has done in destroying the categories and labels of our lives, He has set us free to live in victory and live life to the full and live with joy and live with relaxed intensity. We talked about that last month sometime. But, the labels are so restraining. And here Paul tells us God has abolished, over labeled, all of those labels by the resurrection of Jesus Christ, by including us all in Him. That becomes our one most distinguishing characteristic. We are in Christ. Amazing. Amazing. God, the barrier smasher. God, the categorizer, labeling anti-God. He's against that stuff. He's against us labeling each other and limiting each other. Let's be open and welcoming like He is, and not see each other through our labels, but through who we are in Christ. Good news. Your labels don't count, whether you gave them to yourself or whether others put them on you. Don't pay attention to them. Ignore the labels and accept His verdict, accept His label, His category for you. Loved, beloved, adopted son and daughter of God Most High. God bless you as you live in that freedom today. Talk to you tomorrow.